It's a great day to be rich. Say it with me. It's a great day to be rich. Say it one more time to lock it in. It's a great day to be rich. Realize I am consciousness happening. I'm Vivian Rich, your host here at Live Richer with Ease, where we support ambitious women and the single mom entrepreneur on her journey to living richer with ease, freedom to be, the family to love, the finances to enjoy and share. Hence what we call living richer with ease. Let me ask you a quick question, rich friend. And I want to ask you to answer this in first person, okay? This is a quick question here. Where do I control instead of trust? Okay. Where do I control instead of trust? I know you're like, Vivian, if it's to be, it's up to me. So I got to control. I have to control these things here. Because if I trust other people, they may not come through. You know how that goes. We've been taught this over and over again. If you want it done right, do it exactly. Well, let me share this with you, Rich friend, a new thought, a new way of looking at that, just to expand on it. And let me ask you another question. How are you feeling as a result of handling it that way and taking that approach of control? And if it's up to you, then it needs to be done. If it needs to be done right, you get to do it. How's that working out for you? Let me just ask you a quick question. How is that working out for you? Well, here's the thing. I can recall when I was at the top of my game, per se, and most successful in life and career with multiple preschools running, a senator's proclamation in hand. And at the same time, I had my family at a distance, arm's distance. Why is that? Why did that happen? Why were they at an arm's distance? Because that was my process at that time and my belief system of maintaining control. I controlled all these things and I compartmentalized my family along with my businesses. And so therefore, my family never had the opportunity to come into the warmth and the connection of feeling my energy and knowing me as a person at that time. They knew me as a provider, which I see this happen so often as we women, we get started in these businesses. We're excited about what we're creating and we're excited about the ladder of success that we are having and the different levels that come with it. At the same time, we forget along the way why we started and we lose out on some of the people that we really started this business for. And so when we are in the position, for myself, I was controlling so much that I taught my children that if you're not controlling anything, then it's all going to go haywire. It's not going to work out for you. And I do like my control to a certain degree, ladies. I'm not going to say that I dishonor, the control. I'm just saying it has to be a harmony in that. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And that harmony comes with embodiment, because a lot of times we're leading from a position like an outfit. It's like something we put on, as opposed to leading from who we are. And that's what I want to invite you to. Leading from who you are, as opposed to the title, the role. Because I've learned over time, when we lead and by way of our titles and our roles, what happens is we become desensitized, meaning that we don't necessarily have that heart connection, which we definitely need as humans. Would you agree? That heart connection is not there. It's just a matter of, this is what I do, this is how I show up, and this is what I'm expected to do, and I'm not doing too much more than that. Okay? Have you experienced that, or is that just me? So when you get in that place like that and you start to lead from that role there, what happens over time is the people that's closest to you, they see you in your best and they see you at your worst, and they then learn how to get the best out of you by way of performing they perform instead of connect with you, meaning they have some conversations with you. They know, okay, mine, I'm going to just be transparent. My children know that if you talk about education, you talk about aspirations and doing something really good and changing your life, or even helping someone else change their life, my ears perk up, my eyes are in, I'm helping there, and I'm like all in with you. And that was a leading way of conversation to get their ask, their yes from me. Mm-hmm. Would you expect? I mean, is that true? Your children, your family, those that's closest to you, would you agree? They know you best, whether you are, aside from your titles and your roles outside. And so what happens is they start to perform as opposed to really connecting. And that cost me greatly later. I didn't realize it, but it cost me for a season in my parenting and in my relationship with my children, because I was actually parenting them as a leader rather than a mother. And what I come here to share with you and invite you to new ways of thinking, new ways of being, not just so much as thinking, new ways of being, is to embody. When you're comfortable in who you are, the roles can change, but you remain the same. And that's what I want to invite you into, because see, had I been comfortable in my role and in my being of who I am and who I am, that would have shown up in my businesses. It would have shown up with my family as well. So it didn't have to be a switching, role play. I know there's a term they used to call that. Put it in the chat. Hey, how are you? Uh, Thank you so much. I appreciate the prayers. So think about it was a term they used to call switching or something like that. You don't have to switch out. And I want to invite you to be authentic to yourself, because this month inside of our community, the Live Richer with Ease Society, we're exploring the law of embodiment. And when you can embody something, you are consistent no matter where you show up. And what happens is your standard, what we call the rich signature, your standards, that remains the same. And so therefore you're going to get the same results everywhere you show up, because you are who you are. You're so solid in who you are that yes, you're going to get the yes anyway, because who you are, your energy precedes you. You all have heard that statement, right? Your energy comes before. I can't hear your energy precedes you. And I believe there's a biblical scripture on that one as well. But your energy goes before you. And so therefore it creates the atmosphere for everyone that is going to be in that space. And so what happens is when we are taking ourselves to the place of, this is my role, this is how I need to do this way here and this way here. A lot of times I see this happen, and I've been there, women. We get so caught up in our roles and we don't know how to turn it off when we get home. Have you experienced that? We get so caught up into our roles and we couldn't turn it off. And that's what happened to myself, that my children, and it cost me, as I shared with you, a season in my children's upbringing where they felt they had to perform instead of just come to me wholeheartedly. Mom, I want to just go here. Mom, can we do this here? Or etc. They had to set it up, stage it, put, cushion it, and make sure that they get that yes. Okay. And that's performance. That's not a relationship. That's performance. Whereas ask what you want. That's a relationship. And because of who you are as a person and as a woman of leadership, you can still be warm. You can still be kind. You can still be transparent and still be a leader, because that's your standard. That's who you are. It does not necessarily relate to the environment. It's who you are. It's your identity. It's your embodiment of who you are. And this month, we're talking more about embodying that leadership, knowing who you are as a leader, because guess what? The way you lead at home, women, the way you lead at home, it shows up in your workplace. And the way we lead at home, it impacts not just our household, it impacts everyone that we come in contact with. Our entire community shifts because of our leadership as women. And I want you to learn this sooner than I did, the power that you have within you to be able to support and shift your family, your community, in fact, the entire world. You have that power within you, and it's rooted in your identity and embodying that identity, knowing that you can be, do, and have whatever it is you really want. You can. But it doesn't have to come at the expense of your family. So many times I know that I've experienced that, and I see it quite often now. I can spot it where women are leading from their control rather than leading from their consciousness, which is kindness, which is genuineness, which is awareness of being compassionate and empathetic. That's our natural state. And learning how to teach that and modeling that and being that, we are actually modeling that for the next generation. And that will have the impact on the relationships and on the community as well, how well we are leading. Because, honey, you couldn't tell me that I wasn't the stuff, because I had all these things going for me and all the accolades. However, when I got home, I was just like a total depleted. I was a depleted person because I was exhausted from performing leadership rather than being the leader. There's a difference. Performing leader looks like, this is what I need to do. I need to keep them at their distance, make sure everyone is on top of their role. In some cases, many of us micromanage, especially if we had not had any leadership training. Meaning that, you're like, checklist, do this, and this, and you coming back and you got your finger on the thumb, and you like following behind them to make sure they did what they said, what you told them to do, right? Or what was expected of them to do. See, that's a leadership, control leadership. When you heard what I said, when told them to do, that's control. We lead from consciousness looks like, okay, this is the mission that I would like to see. This is the intention. This is what is laid on my heart. And this is what I want to experience, and I want others to experience as well. And this is the end game where we're going. And communicating that from a heartfelt place, and asking and recognizing and calling out the talent that you see within your team and within your family members, because that's your first team. Typically, it's your family members. And you actually ask them for their support and let them know, I see that you're able to do this you do this very well. Would you be open to doing this with me and supporting me? That's bringing them on to work with you. Now, when they're actually on board with you, then you get to communicate it from consciousness. Again, these are the expectations of this particular role. And we would like for them to be done this way. And if there is a possibility that there's an opportunity for latitude to allow you to do it a different way, that's fine. But this is the end game of what we're looking for. That's how we lead from consciousness, what we want, where the end game is, and what we want, because we want a win-win all the way around for everyone. And that win-win first starts with ourselves, ladies. We get to win first in ourselves. When we're winning and we feel good about ourselves, the conversations we're having about ourselves in our head, that shows up in our leadership. It shows up. I have been in places where I have seen, you could tell, as it says, leadership comes from the top and it flows down. So once I was in an establishment and the service was impeccable. More recently, it was just like top tier all over, timely. There was constant, there was attentiveness as to how did I enjoy my meal? Where would I like to see? My water was being replenished, and all those things were happening with flow and with ease. And this was not a Michelin star restaurant at this time here, okay? This was just a regular restaurant, and they were so on point. And soon thereafter, I met the owner of the establishment, And they were just as kind and just as loving and generous and supportive and professional. Why? The staff matched the leadership. So the same is true with the family as well. And when the families that we're leading, however you show up, whatever you got going on inside of you, it has a ripple effect. And I want you to be aware of that ripple effect and how it's impacting your experience called life. And that starts with being aware of who you are, what your intent, who you are first and foremost. You know, you aware of who you are and what it is you want to precede you, what energy you want to go before you, your consciousness. And so when that happens, then you can start to have a clear gauge on what the outcomes will be. Because if you're experiencing a lot of riffraff and hell in your experience, most likely, it starts within you. Because if you haven't taken that authority and set and what we call establish your rich signature, how your life is supposed to be, in the cases over here, it's supposed to be happy, healthy, wealthy, successful, and free with loving, caring relationships. Thank you, God and me. That is my rich signature. And so therefore it shows up. And I want to invite you to work on your rich signature, get familiar with what your rich signature is. And that comes as a result of your consciousness and being aware of what kind of experience you want to have in this thing called life. It all starts with you. Everything rises and falls with you. It's not outside, it's an inside job. As many of us know, it's an inside job, and we learn daily from that inside work. And what I would love to have you to do, if you're ready to continue, anything I've said today has resonated with you and you're ready to continue with your journey, I would invite you to join our community in the Rich Society, where we go through and we support our community with a journal, The Journey, which allows you to practice these skill sets and also look within yourself and expand your way of being so that you can have the freedom to be, the family to love, the finances to enjoy and share, because that is what life is all about. That is what you're supposed to live richer with ease. That is your birthright, honestly, rich friend. It is the birthright. And we go through these prompts that ask you questions, but also support you with a community to help you expand beyond your current awareness. Because a lot of times we can get right here and we just think that we see this and that's all that there is. But there's so much more out here that we can learn from each other and in community. So I love to share these with you because this was laid up on my heart, this whole entire work, as a result of some of the things I experienced and then what I was able to see happening around in other relationships and other women hitting the same pothole or the same resistance, meeting that and doing it the same way and then wondering what happened. In my case, I was very fortunate with my children that I was able to make amends and have a unified relationship with them. But it wasn't because of strategy that happened. It happened as a result of me taking a one-way ticket to Hawaii with 2 carry-on bags, and actually where I truly discovered the true meaning of my last name, which is Rich, realized I am consciousness happening. And there I got to see myself. I got to know who I am more and what, not just as a person, but in the whole grand scape of this thing called life and humanity. And to and know that we are one. And so whatever I'm feeling, my brother, my sister, my children also have feelings as well. And I can communicate with them and I can meet them where they are. And so in my case, I was very fortunate that the things that I learned in Hawaii and through the rich signature method, I was able to bring back and make amends and communicate with my children and have loving, caring relationships, because that is a part of my rich signature, loving, caring relationships. And I want to invite you to that because it's possible, rich friends, that we can have it all. We can be, do, and have whatever we want. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. We can. And we can do it with ease. Now, the thing is, are we willing to recognize? And I want to invite you to take a moment, as I started out with the question is, where are you leading by control versus trust. Trust, it looks like totally different. It means you're clear on your intention and you're not hammering it in and how it's got to be done this exact same way, because trust allows latitude. It allows for more opportunity to experience the desired result. Because many times I know if you drive your vehicle, right? You have no idea. You know, you want to leave your house and go to, say, the grocery store, or you want to leave your house and go visit a friend. However, thank you so much. However, you're not able to determine how many cars are going to be on the road, who's going to be on the road in those cars, and what attitudes. But you're clear about your destination, right? So in that clarity, you're trusting that you're going to get to your desired destination. Well, that same principle applies to your experience called life, rich friend. When we're clear about where we want to go, we don't know all the who's and how's in every step, but trust the process. We know our destination. We're going to get there. And I appreciate you for popping in, those of you that are on social media, but we know that we're going to get there. So I want you to trust your process, trust yourself, but go back to the first question that I asked, are you leading from control or are you leading from trust? And in this month's journal, this week here, and particularly today's question, today is the 6th, or is it the 7th? Today is oh my gosh, it's the 7th. Oh, wow. Happy birthday, aunties. I have twin aunties. It's their birthday. I want to share with them happy birthday, give them a shout out on that. However, this week here, today's question on the 7th, it's pretty direct, and I know you guys can answer this one pretty easy here. All right. So I just have a rough draft here. I have a draft here. Okay. So write your leadership philosophy and statement. That's what it is today. What is your leadership statement and your philosophy in one paragraph describing how you lead? Why? When are you most fully yourself? See, that's what this has to be. We want you to be fully yourself, the embodiment, being all of you, not halfway, but being all of you. In whatever it is you do, and that's called being present. See, there was a season when, hello, how are you? Being present looked like I'm here physically, but my mind is over there. And that costs us relationships. That costs us opportunities. That costs us the experiences. If you were engaged enough to bring your physical body, it was worth you bringing your physical body. It's worth you bringing your mental, your emotional with it as well. So I want you to take an opportunity. That is the prompt for today inside today's journal, the journey, day 7, is, bring your fullness. Okay. So here's an example. I lead by setting the standard first in myself, and then trusting the people around me to do their part in it. Okay. So when you know yourself, and this is what we get to know ourselves, because when you know yourself, oh my goodness, life is so much easier. So you get to set your standard of leadership today. That's today's prompt inside of the journal, The Journey. And you can get your copy in the link in the bio. And I hope that today you did find one thing here to resonate with you, to help you, support you on your journey to living richer with ease, because you can actually have the freedom to be, the family to love, the finances to enjoy with ease. And our community, Live Richer with Ease, the Rich Society, is here to support you on the way through the journal, The Journey, which is also available at our site. And if you want the community, as well as you can grab a copy on Amazon at Journal The Journey. And until next time, rich friend, it is a great day to be rich.